Welcome to HFY Nexatube Original Sci-Fi Stories. The janitor mopped the same hallway every day at the same hour. Station Zeta Varn, Sector 19, a mid-tier orbital outpost near the diplomatic rim, a transit point. Nothing glamorous, nothing vital, just enough to keep quiet politics moving and not important enough to draw attention. Except lately, attention had come anyway. Tensions with the core dominion were rising. Unregistered ships slipped in and out. Weapons shipments were misfiled or lost in transit. And the station received a new admiral, one not known for his patience. The staff scrambled to impress. The officers wore sharper uniforms. The crew walked straighter. Everyone felt the tension, everyone except the janitor. He wore no name tag, he never saluted. He just moved, mop in hand, bucket rolling beside him, eyes down. The crew called him Mafed. Some joked he didn't even speak Galactic Standard. Others said he was slow, probably leftover from some aid program. A few pitied him. Most ignored him. He never reacted. He mopped. Until the day Admiral Threx arrived. Threx was from the Vorton species, tall, sharp-skulled, and known for their surgical precision in leadership. He stepped aboard Zeta Varn like he owned it already. And by the end of the first hour, he had 7 staff reassigned, 2 officers disciplined, and a logistics subcommander dismissed entirely. He didn't shout. He simply observed and acted. So when he passed the janitor in the corridor, bent over a stain, moving slowly, he didn't glance past him like the others. He stopped, watched, and noticed something no one else had. The janitor paused, sensing the presence, and slowly straightened. His neck turned just slightly, enough to show the side of it, and there, just below the ear and behind the vein line, lay a faint ink-black emblem. Small, sharp, simple. But Threx's eyes widened, because he knew that mark. It wasn't decoration. It wasn't some tribal tattoo. It was a Terran kill seal, not ceremonial, not official. A clandestine military brand given only to those who had completed what Earth called termination acts, unsanctioned operations to end wars before they began. Only a few humans in history had carried that seal, and every file connected to them had been redacted to blackout. Threx said nothing. He just walked away slowly, memorizing the man's posture, the shape of his scarred hands, the lack of fear. Back at his private quarters, Threx pulled up old encryption channels, ones used by admirals with access above Clearance 12. He keyed in what little he remembered of the seal. The system paused, then flickered, then gave a result. Active designation Reaper 6. Status, retired, do not engage. The next line was more chilling. If compromised, evacuate all noncombatants immediately. The next day, Threx met with station security. He said nothing about the janitor. He simply ordered a quiet increase in surveillance, a doubling of response drills, and a total lockdown on outside diplomatic visitors. When pressed why, he simply replied, "Just a feeling." But it was more than that. Threx had heard stories. Back when Earth was still young in the galactic fold, before the Council accepted them, there had been a border incident with the Drevil Syndicate. The Drevil were confident. They outnumbered human forces 20-1. Then something happened, something no one explained. A Drevil moon station went dark. Their admiralship exploded from the inside, and a message arrived at their capital written in Drevil blood, spelling only one word: enough. That incident ended the war. Years later, whispers said it had been one man, a Terran, codename Reaper 6, but that was supposed to be a myth. Now the myth was mopping Corridor 4 Gamma next to the mess hall. Quiet, unarmed, forgotten, until now. And what no one realized is that Earth didn't just train weapons, it buried them until someone stupid enough uncovered them. The station was quiet, not calm quiet. The kind of quiet that settles when predators step into unfamiliar territory. Eyes darted. Shifts ran longer. People whispered in corners where cameras couldn't hear. Everyone felt it. Something was coming. Threx didn't tell his officers about Reaper 6. He didn't issue a station-wide alert. He didn't even have the janitor detained. because deep down, Admiral Threx knew the truth. You don't pull the pin out of an old grenade to see if it still works. So he waited, prepared, and watched the janitor mop his floors with methodical, unbothered calm. Security officer Varric thought otherwise. A fresh appointment, young, eager, and reckless. He didn't like the way the human ignored his authority, didn't salute, didn't answer questions, and that mark on his neck, he caught a glimpse, thought it was gang ink, didn't report it. He decided to confront it. Name, Varric demanded in front of the mess hall. The janitor didn't answer. Varric stepped closer, aggressive. I said your name, human. Still no reply, just a glance, neutral, empty. Then the janitor resumed mopping. Varric lost patience, grabbed his arm. In one fluid motion he was on the ground. Wind knocked from him. Arm twisted but not broken. The mop never left the human's grip. The janitor looked down, not with anger, not even amusement, just warning, and then walked away. Threx saw the security report 2 hours later, reviewed the footage. He called Varric into his office, didn't speak for a full minute, then finally said, "You touched a sealed Terran operator. You're lucky he didn't pull your skeleton out through your mouth. From now on, you follow orders. You do not improvise, understand." Varric nodded stiffly, but his pride stung, and pride always digs the grave deeper. 3 days later, a core Dominion transport docked unannounced. No manifest, no prior approval, but high-ranking diplomats on board, too high to deny. Threx, forced by protocol, let them land. The core envoys were polite, too polite. Their eyes lingered too long, their smiles stretched too wide. They asked too many questions about defense logistics, and then the head diplomat, Lady T.H. Czar, said something odd. "We heard your janitorial staff is impressively diverse." A test. Threx didn't flinch. Station records are classified, as is personnel. But the mask slipped. She leaned in close. "If he's who we think he is, no station protocol will save you." Threx knew then this wasn't coincidence. This was bait. They were here for him, Reaper 6. Hours later, Station Zetavarn experienced a full systems blackout. Not technical, tactical, doors sealed, lights dimmed, power rerouted, and in the dark, armored shapes moved. Core strike teams, armed with neural clamps and suppressors. They weren't here to negotiate. They were here to capture the janitor. Varric, still bitter from his reprimand, helped them, gave them access to internal maps, offered silent overrides. Thought he'd get credit. Instead, he was stunned first, non-lethal but humiliating, because Core don't share trophies. They found the janitor near the coolant exchange lower deck, still mopping. One of them laughed. He raised his weapon, and froze because the janitor straightened, slowly, calmly. And this time he turned to face them fully, no emotion, just the seal, visible, glowing faint red beneath his skin. One word left his lips, not loud, not angry, just true. Wrong call. It was over in 38 seconds. The feed cut out. Internal sensors fried. By the time emergency protocols kicked in, all 7 core operatives were unconscious. Not dead, but damaged, weapons dismantled, armor fused. One of them mumbling nonsense through a crushed mouthpiece. Security teams arrived, found the janitor calmly walking back toward his corridor, mop now functioning as a reinforced staff, clean, gleaming, and very real. Threx arrived minutes later, found the janitor cleaning up blood with zero expression. "Do you want me to reassign you?" the Admiral asked quietly. The janitor paused, then spoke for the first time, voice low, flat, human. "You can't. I'm not yours." And he walked away. Later that night, Threx pulled the kill seal file again, scrolled further. Near the bottom, buried behind warnings and redactions, was one final line. "Reaper 6 is not a weapon. He is a consequence. Deploying him is not an act of war. It is an admission of failure." And still, there he was, mopping a hallway no one cared about, as if nothing had changed. But now everyone noticed him, and none dared to look too long. They came in force, not covert this time, not subtle. A full core Dominion fleet dropped from subspace, 12 warships, 1 command carrier, and over 3,000 troops. They didn't request docking clearance. They demanded it. Their message echoed across every channel. You are harboring a rogue Terran asset. Surrender him immediately, or be designated hostile. Admiral Threx stood on the command deck, unreadable. Behind him, the crew whispered. They weren't whispering about the fleet. They were whispering about the janitor. Because in the hours after the failed abduction, word spread like fire. Security footage mysteriously leaked. Everyone saw the man disarm 7 elites with a mop in silence. Everyone saw the seal. And worse, everyone saw that Earth did nothing. Threx opened a secure channel to Earth's relay office. He didn't expect a direct answer. He got one. A gray-haired Terran intelligence officer appeared. No rank insignia, no unit tag, just a solid black shirt. Threx didn't ask his name. He just spoke. Is he yours? The man didn't blink. No, not anymore. Then what is he doing on my station? Cleaning. They're about to start a war over him. Then let them. What do I tell my crew? A pause, then. Tell them we buried our sins deep. If they're digging them up, they've already chosen extinction. The signal cut. On deck 7, in a long-abandoned maintenance bay, the janitor sat silently on an overturned crate. His mop rested beside him like a weapon leaning on a throne. Threx entered without guards. The man didn't look up. Why you? Threx asked. Why here? The janitor finally spoke again. Low, measured, not tired, calibrated. You have no idea what they want. Then tell me. They think I know where the rest of us are. A chill passed through Threx. There are more of you. The janitor finally looked up, eyes sharp, focused, not angry, just ready. I'm the one that retired. Outside the station, the core ship's powered weapons. Inside, Threx paced. Protocol said to evacuate. Command said to comply. Instinct said to surrender the janitor. But nothing in him believed that would stop what was coming, because he'd seen the footage, not just of the fight, but of the moment after, where the janitor looked at a camera, face still blank, and tapped his neck seal once. Like he knew exactly who was watching, like he wanted them to see. An ultimatum came through. 5 minutes, turn him over. The timer began. Across the station, lights dimmed. Defense systems flickered. Someone had triggered internal lockdowns, and the only access left ran through the janitor's route paths. They sent a boarding team again, stronger this time, full armor, gravitic restraints, chemical suppressors. They expected resistance. Instead, they walked into darkness, then silence, then screaming. Only one survivor returned, not wounded, not bleeding, just shaking. They asked what happened. He kept repeating one phrase over and over. He didn't move. He didn't even move. The core dominion made one final call to Earth, demanded explanation, demanded recompense, demanded blood. They received a single automated reply. 5 words. Reaper 6 was your idea. Then Earth severed all diplomatic channels. What no one aboard Zeta Varn realized, the janitor never asked for help, never reached out, never tried to defend himself, because he wasn't afraid. He was waiting for what? No one knew. Maybe it was a signal, maybe it was a name. Maybe it was just the wrong fleet showing up at the wrong time. But when it happened, when the first core ship opened fire, it wasn't Earth that responded. It was him. The first core ship fired. A warning shot, they claimed later. But that shot skimmed Station Zeta Varn's upper plating and caused 2 atmospheric breaches. 1 crew member was injured. Another sucked into vacuum. The core called it regrettable. Earth didn't reply. The janitor did. He walked straight to the core operations bay, didn't break stride, didn't touch a weapon, yet every door opened for him. Security scanners flickered. Biolocks disengaged. Even the backup AI stopped pinging. By the time Admiral Threx arrived, the janitor was already in the command node. Alarms were silent. Lights dimmed, but not dark. They pulsed faint blue, matching the rhythm of the man's breathing. Are you hijacking my station? Threx asked, cautious. The janitor turned to him. For once there was something behind those eyes, sadness, and beneath it, resolve. I built this core layout, he said. What? Before they retired me, before Earth buried us. They used me to test neural interfaces, reflex links, subconscious defense triggers. This station runs on tech we designed, so they'd have no choice but to retire us when we learned how to break it from the inside. Threx swallowed hard. You could have done this any time, the janitor nodded. I didn't want to, I wanted to be left alone. Outside, the core command carrier launched drones, then assault pods, then kinetic lances. Inside, nothing fired back, no defense grid, no fleet response, no retaliation. The janitor stood in silence until the power levels surged and the hull plating of Zeta Varn moved, not retracted, not opened, shifted, and from the sides of the station something unfolded. Long, metallic, organic, not weapons, wings. The janitor tapped the console, releasing override protocol Phoenix. Every core ship's sensors spiked red, because Zeta Varn wasn't just a station, it was a sheathed vessel. One built for exactly one operator. One buried beneath decades of diplomatic camouflage. One designed for him. What happened next was recorded in every major system across the quadrant. It wasn't a battle. It wasn't even a war. It was a purge. The vessel bloomed in void space, plasma trailing from its extended hull. It didn't fire salvos, it unfolded light. Grav drivers peeled enemy ships apart molecule by molecule. Imp webs rewrote navigation systems before enemy captains could blink. Pods tried to flee. They dissolved mid-trajectory, silently. One core cruiser turned to ram. It vanished. No explosion, no fire, just gone. Inside, Threx watched from the ops bay. The janitor didn't sit, didn't bark orders. He just stood, palms resting on the interface node, eyes distant. He wasn't angry, he wasn't triumphant. He looked tired. 15 minutes later, nothing remained of the core fleet. No wreckage, no transmissions, no survivors. The prototype vessel folded its wings and docked back into station alignment, as if it had never moved. In the silence that followed, Admiral Threx approached. You built that, a nod. You flew it, another nod. Why stop? The janitor finally turned to him. Because I didn't become a janitor to stay hidden. I became one to be harmless. He set the mop down, straightened. The seal on his neck pulsed one final time, then burned out, literally, searing the skin, leaving a scar. He didn't flinch. Earth won't take me back, he said. I know, Threx replied. I'm not going with them. They're all dead. I know that too. Then where will you go? The man picked up his mop again. Corridor 4 Gamma still has blood in the seams, and he walked away. No commendation followed. No parade. Earth classified the event within seconds. Station Zeta Varn remained operational, but now received triple-tier clearance upgrades. The janitor kept mopping. No one mocked him. No one even asked his name, because everyone knew he wasn't mopping floors. He was watching them. Some say Earth built 5 like him. Some say he was the only one. Some whisper that Reaper 6 wasn't a title. It was a warning. Whatever the truth, one thing remained. He never asked for power. He never wanted glory. He just wanted peace. But when they forced his hand, he reminded the stars. Humans don't retire. They go quiet until the galaxy forgets why it should be afraid. Like, subscribe, and don't forget to watch the next video.